Good morning, everyone. It is Meredith Leon McCormick for World Bride Magazine. And as you all know, that we are the media partner for Travel and Adventure Show. So we're encouraging you to travel, discover America, leave the country, travel and see different parts of the world. There's various ways to get to each destination. You could take the train, you could take the bus, or you can drive, but of course you could fly. But did you know that you have the option of flying private? Yes, everyday people may be able to fly private. And we have an amazing person that owns a wonderful company that we're just discovering. So we wanted to get it straight from his mouth. What is the company and what do they offer and how can we get involved? And I would like to introduce Marc Sellouk from Flyte. Good morning.
Good morning, Meredith. Thank you for having me on. Excited to
Absolutely.
cover all these topics. And I love private aviation, and I'm an aviation enthusiast, and I just happen to be a pilot as well.
So that's a lot. So first, let's start with say your full name and the name of your company, just in case I mispronounce any words.
Marc Sellouk, company is Flyte.
Fantastic. Okay. So you're a pilot and you know so much about private aviation. Please school us, average people, on what is it that you have to offer and how can we benefit from it for people that are traveling for their honeymoon, their anniversaries, destination weddings, and so on.
Right. So private aviation has long been seen as exclusive. And what's changing in the industry is it's becoming a lot more efficient.
Mhm.
It used to be about flying big jets, long distances, and it was limited to a very small audience. Today, we're seeing smaller, smarter aircraft, shorter routes, local airports. And when you combine that with tech and you remove waste from the system, you get shorter trips, reduced
Mhm.
overhead, and you operate more intelligently. The experience becomes more accessible, and you don't lose that feeling of privacy and control. And that's what we're bringing to the industry. We are making private travel more accessible, more regional, more efficient, and more affordable.
But why did you feel like 2026 is going to be the year where this whole thing shifts and changes? Are you seeing an uptick in travel? Because, we have to acknowledge we have seen some economic distress in society, but the 1% have always been okay. But the people that are have the spending power, they want to know how to get there because it's not about having tangible things, Gen Zs. They want experiences. Why do you feel 2026 and on is going to be the year of change?
Because there are multiple shifts happening at
Mhm.
once. Travelers want reliability, they want more control than ever. And technology is finally catching up. It's catching up to aviation's complexities. And operators like ourselves, we're moving away from one-off flights and more towards repeatable type networks.
Mhm.
So when the demand and behavior, coupled with aircraft capability and technology all align at the same time,
Mhm.
you don't get a gradual change. You get a step up
Mm,
change.
mm. Okay, okay. But electrical aircrafts, they're getting a lot of attention now. So whenever something is hot and it's new, it starts to get all the attention. But the reality is there's layers to this whole thing. What do you mean by the statements that you make about it being a disruption? What does that even mean?
So aircraft get headlines,
Hmm.
but services create scale.
Mm,
The real disruption is how flights are priced,
hmm.
scheduled, and operated as part of a system of
Hmm.
one-offs.
Okay.
So when you apply technology to routing, you get demand prediction and aircraft utilization, you dramatically reduce cost and friction. And so electric aircraft will eventually matter in a big way, but
Hmm.
they'll be the most powerful when you plug them into smarter platforms and smarter service platforms like the ones that we're building.
So what is the connection with AI and flight aviation? Because AI is also a big thing now that's, but taking off completely, but yet people are afraid of losing their jobs to AI. And it's still in a testing ground. It's not something that's been here for decades, so we know what to expect. How is AI implemented into what you're offering?
So with us specifically, it makes flying more local,
Hmm.
more of a local convenience
Okay.
than a major event. So you have shorter hops, quieter cabins, easier access to smaller airports, oftentimes airports that most people never even knew existed. It lowers costs for regional trips. And for passengers, it means skipping long drives or commercial terminals and getting closer
Mhm.
to where they want to be with far less stress.
Okay, okay. But what are the sizes of the planes that we're talking about? Because we're talking about electrical, AI, all the things that we are unfamiliar with. It's unfamiliar territory. It's all new to us, So how do we measure any of this? How do I put myself at ease and feel safe and know that you've done your homework, because now I'm putting my life, my reader's life into your hands. How can you reassure us of the safety and you've done your due diligence for everything that you're offering?
So I'll give you a very direct example. Today, our platform utilizes the Vision Jet.
Mhm.
And the Vision Jet, by far, we feel, and many feel, that is the safest plane in the air. So from a safety perspective, I'll give you two features that make our flyers very comfortable. The
Mhm.
first is the safe return, where in the event the pilot gets incapacitated, the passenger actually has the ability to press a button right overhead, and the
Mhm.
plane will communicate with air traffic.
Mhm.
It will fly and land autonomously,
Mm.
right? And then what we also have built in the Vision Jet is a parachute, where in the event there's a where the structural integrity of the aircraft is compromised,
Mhm.
there is a lever that can actually be pulled down, and there is a rocket that comes out of the nose of the aircraft, and a parachute hovers overhead
Of the plane?
of the plane. So when you talk about safety
What
features,
kind of James Bond movie scene
it
are
is
we describing here?
it is an incredible aircraft. It's a Vision Jet. The cap system, there have been absolutely zero fatalities from the production of this aircraft since 2016. So when we talk about safety and we talk
Right,
about reliability, this aircraft is the aircraft to beat. And so that's one thing we're doing here that brings that safety and comfort level
right.
to the type of services that we're bringing to the marketplace.
Okay, so now about how many people can these private air jets hold at a time? And how many of them do you have? And where are they accessible?
So we just launched in the Northeast
Mhm.
I'm sorry, last year,
Mhm.
and we're about to expand into the Southeast region.
Okay,
And for us, it's a matter of expanding smartly. These aircraft hold a total of 7 passengers, including the pilot.
okay.
And we fly these aircraft single pilot because, quite frankly, the autonomous landing system and the parachute, those are your co-pilots. But even
Okay.
those passengers that want that extra safety feeling or that extra comfort feeling of
Mhm.
safety, we can
Mhm.
put a second pilot in the aircraft as well. In the back, the cabin holds a total of 5 passengers, uh, 3 adults, and 2 children under 90 pounds.
Okay.
So
And how
it
many?
is, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, no, forgive me. How many planes do you have?
So we currently have 3 in
Okay.
network, and we'll be launching across the country based on demand. But we are prepared to launch into different across the country by I would say into 4 different major markets by the end of 2026.
Fantastic. So we're talking about this is America is going to be the first to experience this kind of service that's offered to them. So
That's right. And
short trip.
on demand, short trips, uh, generally available to, across different regions. And as I said, airports that most people never even knew existed. And I'll give you an example here in New York. You pull 10
Mhm.
people aside on the street and you ask them which airports they're familiar with, you're going to get your JFKs, your LaGuardias, maybe a White Plains or an
Right.
Islip. People don't realize that there in the tri-state area, there are over 60 airports that you can land at. There are over
Really?
19,000 airports in the US, and of those airports, only 435 of them are utilized by the commercial airlines. So the
Wow.
opportunity to take our services and similar type services uh,
Hmm.
to those airports creates a whole new realm of convenience. And
Wow.
that's the differentiator that we're bringing to the marketplace, along with the type of aircraft that we're utilizing to bring that safety and convenience to the market.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the hard question. What is your starting price? And we all know, us travelers, educated travelers know that flying is seasonal, and prices change with whatever. What is the starting average price per trip? Can people estimate it being? What's the investment?
Starting price can range anywhere, and again, this depends on distance and it's also on demand. So we're catering,
Hmm.
there's no two set routes from
Hmm.
a departure to a destination airport.
Hmm.
But generally, we're in the vicinity of starting at 3,000 on a one way to roughly about 7 to 8,000 on a round trip, depending on the distance. And that's for the whole aircraft.
Okay, wait. I was expecting a whole bigger number. Wait.
It
So,
gets even better actually, because we're ultimately our goal is to get to a per seat model, which we'll reach once we get to our threshold in terms of capacity, we'll be able to offer a per seat model as well. But that's future facing.
wow. So we're talking about so we're talking about this from New York to maybe DC or Baltimore or something. Is it short runs like that? Is that what we're talking about? Or Miami-ish?
So we're talking about regionals. Let's say make it easy and you put a dot in New York and you draw a
Hmm.
radius around it. You're
Hmm.
looking at a 400 nautical mile radius. So New York to Maine, New York to DC, New York, Philly, maybe a little more westerly. Uh, but that's the general coverage area. So from a southeast perspective, you're looking at Miami to Jacksonville or Jacksonville to Naples, Naples to uh, Palm Beach. Those are the typical routes.
Wow. That's not bad when you think of it. So I had the honor and the pleasure, because of the fabulous Green family, to fly private. And it was a wonderful experience. I did it a couple of times with them. And the interesting thing, and to think how much I fly and I travel, I hate flying. I'm a nervous wreck every time. But it is the most exhilarating experience to be able to fly private for not just the fact that you're in the air and you're in close quarters, that's not it. But it's the fact of you're driven to a private lounge area, check in, you miss TSA and all this other stuff that you're able to get on this and get private service. And that's what I think the next generation of travelers want is experiences, and they want intimate experiences. So it's about not just I got to, to Maine. I just got to the Hamptons, and that's when my trip begins. It seems like what you're offering is from the moment they say they're going to getting on your plane, that's when the whole experience begins. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let me take it a step further. I had a meeting in DC the other day, and it was an 11 a.m. meeting. And unfortunately, I had to take a commercial flight out of New York.
Hmm.
But for me to get to an 11 a.m. meeting, I had to leave my house at 4:30, catch a flight at 6:30, deal with the delays, and really took up my entire morning, and on the return, an entire day
Hmm.
uh, for all but 2 hour meeting that I had. So just imagine that you can show up to the airport and it's only about an hour flight. So
Hmm.
imagine I just showed up at the airport at 9 a.m. for a 9:10 flight, 10 minutes prior to my flight, and have that
Everything.
convenience, get to my meeting and be back in time for an early dinner.
It
I
wouldn't
mean,
happen on a commercial.
time is money, and people are starting to realize that. And the convenience that we bring to the business and the leisure traveler
Hmm.
from this perspective is really a game changer. And when you make that more affordable by way of combining tech with new type of aircraft and aligning that all together, it makes these products a game changer in the industry and quite frankly, changing the whole scope of how people view aviation. It's no longer going to be something that's not within my realm.
Hmm.
I can do this and I can save a lot of time, be more productive, be more efficient. And from a business perspective, we all know time is money.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Um, so how do people go about booking you for this service? And and also I also want to ask you, just so I won't forget the question, is who are your pilots, and how are they accredited, and how do you vet them out to make sure so that the public is sure that they're dealing with seasoned veteran pilots?
That's a great question, Meredith. And safety is paramount to our service. We are operating under what's called a Part 135 FAA certificate.
Hmm.
And it's very similar to what airlines operate under, which is a Part 121 certificate.
Hmm.
And we operate under the same safety requirements from an FAA perspective. So we're both vetted almost in the same way. From a pilot perspective, there are two um, companies out there that really are looked upon as the company to be certified by, or the pilots to be certified by. So people who are flying private feel comfortable in from a safety perspective. And those companies are named Argus and Wyvern. And so when a
Okay.
private flyer, anytime a private flyer who does fly off, and their first question is, are your pilots Argus rated or Wyvern safe? And
Okay.
so every one of our pilots are Argus Gold rated,
Wow.
meaning that they've been vetted, the background has been verified, the amount of hours and the type rating on the aircraft that they're flying has been vetted, and it's typically upper on the upper end of the qualifications. So they're very experienced pilots. They haven't been doing this, and they're not just out of school. They're pilots who have been around and who have flown quite a bit. And so we adhere to very high safety standards, and we're also Argus Gold rated, which is a big statement from a safety perspective.
And so we're talking about almost like Michelin star, right? Of the
Yeah,
flying
I guess so.
industry.
You could say that. Very good. We're Michelin rated with pilots.
I love
Five
that.
star, 5 star
Yes,
Michelin.
I love it. I love it. And do you guys have amenities on the plane, or can people bring amenities on, such as champagne, wine to celebrate? For instance, if a couple wants to pop the question someplace and they want to start, fly with you and do that, is there is that available?
We have champagne stocked in our fridge.
And there you have it. What a way to close.
Right? In
Oh,
fact,
thank
we'll
you.
pop one right after this interview.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so, so much for this information. I was really excited,
It's
um,
my pleasure.
just to talk about it because I love traveling but hate flying, but I'm always curious. And the thing is, I love the idea of aviation. I think it's the coolest job anyone could ever have. But I'm putting my hands in someone else's life, so you always want to know that you're safe. And with all the AI, the electrical cars are having problem and they're on the ground. So we're like, how is flying gonna? So this was amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to explain this to us. I'm looking forward to get more information so we can write about it for the written piece. So again, I'm excited. Please tell us one more time, what is your website and for people to follow you and get more information to booking you?
Great. I thank you, Meredith. And you can find us at www.flyte.travel. That's FLYTE.travel. And you can catch us on social media at FlyFlight.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can't say we don't bring you the best and the first. This was a wonderful conversation with Mark, and you're going to catch your flight because we are too. Ciao.